Hi, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about healthy boundaries and toxic environments. And what do I mean by that? So, for me, I used to entertain a lot of relationships and a lot of friendships that were toxic in nature. And I think a lot of the reasons why I used to do that was because I didn't really value myself at that time. I find it now that I'm getting older that I used to think that that's what I deserved from people. And don't get me wrong, I had a very toxic mentality as well too. I was raised up with a very toxic environment and a toxic thought process. So that kind of went into my adulthood. However, I used to tolerate these things. And it wasn't until I actually came out of alcohol whenever I decided that I wanted to start setting healthy boundaries. And when I started setting healthy boundaries and letting people know that I will not tolerate being treated a certain way, I started losing people. And at first, I'm not going to lie, it really did hurt. It hurt to lose people. But what I found was I started having a peace to myself that I've never had before. And now that I'm getting older, I'm starting to realize that I want to protect that peace. No matter what the cost is, no matter who walks out of my life, I want to protect my inner peace. And I started learning that when I started setting healthy boundaries. And I heard a woman the other day say that adults inform and children explain. And I thought that was so cool whenever I heard that, because that really hit deep, and that makes a lot of sense. Children seem to have the want to explain things, and I think we also, as adults, try to explain to people why we should be protected, why we should be valued, why we shouldn't be disrespected. And at the end of the day, when you're having to explain that to somebody, you're not really accomplishing anything, but also letting that person know that you're not really valuing yourself. I feel like whenever you get to a point where you inform people, you set the boundaries right then and there. And I also feel like it's very crucial to set those boundaries immediately whenever you are getting into a relationship or friendship or anything of that matter. Even with work or any aspect of your life, people will only treat you how you allow them to treat you. And ultimately, they will get more and more of treating you badly depending on how you allow that to happen. I know for me, what I've seen in my lifetime is people treating me a certain way, and by allowing it, they push it a little further, a little further, a little further. And I feel like that's something that humans do. It wasn't until I literally put my foot down about who I was as a person and decided that I didn't want to be convicted of who I used to be. And the person I am now is not the person I used to be. And it's really interesting whenever you go through addiction and you come out of addiction and you start getting your life together. People know you from their perspective. And for a while, I was trying to explain myself whenever I started getting my sobriety and getting myself together, because I felt like that's what I needed to do to let people know, hey, I've changed. Look at me. I'm different. I'm not the same person. At the end of the day, you cannot convince people of their perspective of you. That is their perspective of you. And I guess what I had to come to grips with and realize was it's none of my business. It's none of my business what people think or how people feel about me. My healthy boundary is how I feel about me. How I wake up and how I treat myself is ultimately my biggest accomplishment. And also, valuing myself is something that I didn't really do whenever I was in my addiction. You know, I was literally destroying myself. And as I was destroying myself, I realized that I was doing it because I felt like that's what I deserved. And then it wasn't until I actually got into my sobriety that I realized, no, I don't deserve that. I deserve better than that. I needed to take my situations and the things that I've been through and the things that I've done, and I need to figure those things out. I need to create healthy boundaries, but also I need to create a healthy way of thinking of things. I had to come to the realization that people make mistakes, and I was human. And it took a long time to figure out how to forgive myself. I think it took longer to forgive myself than it took to forgive others. And when I finally learned how to forgive myself, then I started realizing how important I was to me, that I had to pull me out of addiction. I had to go through those dark times by myself. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I need to protect that. I need to protect my inner peace. And it's funny how whenever you decide that you want to protect your inner peace, and then you finally put your foot down and you start saying no to people, how people react. And that was something that was a little mind blowing for me. I hope that this video helps. I hope that if you're in a season right now of growth, I really hope that you learn how to set healthy boundaries for yourself. I hope that you learn to take yourself more seriously and that you value yourself more. And if so, and if this video does help, please leave a comment in the comment section. I'd love to hear about it. With that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Until next time.